Arjita ma'am has already joined. So I really take great pleasure in inviting her for the keynote lecture today.
Hey, Vamika.
Hi Arjita. Good morning or good evening for you. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited. Like this is the second time I'm hearing you live, so I can't wait for it. So we aren't giving a professional introduction, so I would like to mention one personal thing. So whenever Ajita is speaking, you can see the twinkle in her eyes. So you will. That's why I posted like it's going to be a sparkling lecture. So I'm sure many of you already know about her, but I'll just give a few highlights about her. So Arjita Sethi is the founder of New School and founder of Startup India Advisory, India Rath, and she is a TEDx speaker. And her startup equally is funded by Elon Musk's Global Learning X Prize, and she has reached out to people from more than 10 countries. And she also currently teaches at Hull International Business School and San Francisco University. So I will stop here because this list is, if I try to make a list, it's going to keep on going. So, ma'am, I think you should go forward for the lecture.
Thank you so much, Vamika, for having me. I am excited to be here, especially on a weekend. And I know it is Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Hats off to everyone who is joining this session today on their weekend. And thank you for joining me today. When I started thinking about what I should be talking about, honestly, I was a little scared because I am not an engineer. I am not a person who comes from tech background. So I started talking to my co-founder and I was really nervous. I was thinking, wait, what can I talk about? These are the most intelligent people already. They already know everything. So what I'm going to talk about is something that is completely opposite to technology and something that is completely done by non-technical people, because I think as you already know everything in innovation and tech, we can add to that by including entrepreneurship and innovation. So I'm going to be talking about my journey of building the 3 startups that I did, how I did it, and what I do in Silicon Valley. And I'm also going to talk about everything that you can start doing today, right away, to start your journey. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask them. I would love to take up questions. I would love to hear from the people who are watching this session. And if you're not able to ask your questions today, reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram or any of the social media platforms. Happy to check in and answer anything that you have. So, hi, everyone. I'm Arjita Sethi, and today I'm going to talk about how innovation led me to build and run 3 startups. What's going to happen in the next 60 minutes? We are going to talk about my story a little bit, and I'm going to talk about all the lessons that I've learned from my own story. I'm also going to talk about what is holding you back, what is holding most of the people back when they think about entrepreneurship and innovation, and the 5 ways that you can awaken that founder in you, and 5 ways that you can actually start implementing things today itself to begin your entrepreneurship or innovation journey. I've already told you, but you can feel free to connect with me on any of the social media platforms. You can subscribe to my Substack. It's a free founder resource at any time if you need any help. I go by the name Arjita Sethi, and you can find me anywhere. So don't hesitate, reach out to me. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Arjita Sethi. I'm founder of 3 startups. I am the CEO of a venture-backed AR and AI company in Silicon Valley. I sit on the advisory board of NASDAQ's Entrepreneurial Center. I have mentored and coached about 250 founders from 40 different countries in the world to launch their startups. I have taught about 20,000 people, and I teach innovation and entrepreneurship and creativity at 2 Silicon Valley business schools. But that's not how I started. This is where I am today. It's not where my roots began. I was born in a very, very small, underdeveloped city in India. It was a small town. It isn't even a city. I was born in Meerut. And my mom cried the day I was born. She cried because I was a girl. And she realized that, it's going to be difficult for me to be ambitious, to do things that I really want to. And when I got to know about that story, I promised myself that, I'm not going to let that hold me back. So I have tried to do everything where I could break that ceiling, wherever I could question the status quo. And that's how I've reached where I have here. I started my first startup at 16. It was a vocational school in Delhi that trained about 10,000 people a year. We would train Indian Army soldiers who were going for UN peacekeeping missions. We would train youth who were not getting employment or jobs. We would train anyone who was seeking any kind of vocation so that they could get a job. And this started at 16 because I was very bored out of my high school. I really wanted to know how education can actually lead to a means of a fulfilling life. And I saw that disconnect where everybody, when I was going into my high school, my 11th grade, everybody's saying, take science, take commerce, take humanities if you want to do this. And at the end of the day, I really wanted to know what is it that can give a fulfilling life or a job or a career to person? And the answer was not education, actually. The answer was the right skill to get that job. Most of the people did have their degrees and they still wouldn't get through to an interview because their communication skills wouldn't be great. Most people still had degrees, but they still wouldn't get that job because they did not have any technical skills, any computer skills. So these basic things, I saw that gap, and my mom had started this company at this school, and I told her at 16, I really want to join this. This is what I want to do, and this is what I did for my first 7 years as a founder. And then 7 years ago, I moved to Silicon Valley. And I started a company called Equally that Vamika was talking about. We are an augmented reality platform. We use computer vision so that the kids don't even need schools and teachers. They can go in their surroundings and they can learn from their surroundings. And why we started this actually was every time I used to see kids interact with technology, either they would be bored, they did not want to learn. All of us might be facing that COVID fatigue already. We've had too many virtual sessions. We've had too many Zoom sessions. You're stuck to a chair, you're stuck to a place, and you cannot move. And that's why we thought kids cannot be stuck to a technology. That's not a fun way. So we added augmented reality bit inspired from Pokemon Go, and we built Equally. And Equally has been so well received everywhere in the world. As Vamika mentioned, we were one of the semifinalists in the Global Learning X Prize. This was a $15 million prize that was sponsored by Elon Musk, and we were one of the semifinalists. As you can see, this is us. At that time, Equally was called Team School of Games, and that's my co-founder and partner. We did this together. So that's what we started building. And when we became a semi-finalist in X Prize, I was a full-time student. I had a job in the US and my co-founder had a job. So when we got this validation that, wait, we became a semi-finalist out of almost 400 global teams for such a huge prize, that is literally the moment when we thought, wait, maybe we are onto something. Till now, we did not know if we are building an education platform that's going to change the way kids get educated. But this validation became too real. It hit us that maybe what we are doing really is needed by the world. And that is when we started taking it more seriously. I moved to it full time and started working on it as well. And we went to Finland. Finland's education is ranked very highly when it comes to education and the children's well-being and their happiness and their learning levels, all of that. It's a very holistic way of education, and I was intrigued. So in 2018, we thought, let's go to Finland and explore what their education system is all about. We got into an accelerator program. For those who do not know, an accelerator program is a couple of weeks program. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 months, sometimes 6 months, depending on the program. And this accelerator program connects you to a network of experts, advisors, investors, and coaches you as you are going through your company and building it. And this program was such a great fit for us because it focused only on education and it was based in Finland. So from Silicon Valley, although you would think Silicon Valley is the hub of innovation, we went to see where in the world is the best education. And when we saw it was Finland, we went to Finland. And this is another thing that I want you to understand in my journey. Every time I wanted to create something, I went ahead and learned about it from the best. I don't have to tell that to you. You're already in IIT. It's the best institution, but that goes even for your entrepreneurship journey. Go and learn from the best. This is going to be very, very important. And then go ahead, give it back to other people who don't have access to it as well. So we went to Finland in 2018. We got certified by their education standards and got a 91% on our pedagogy levels. This was the next validation. We realized, wait, okay, we got through X Prize, and now even Finland's education says this is great. Now, remember, it was just my co-founder and I, and we had a couple of remote team workers around the world building this. And the first day when we went for the demo, the VCs who had come to listen to the demo pitches of this accelerator program loved our product so much that they funded us. So our first VCs are impact investors from Finland. People say Silicon Valley has the best network, but we found our first investors in Finland. Again, where you're located doesn't really mean much if you're really doing the right thing. So see where you are and you will be able to get that success as well. So that's when we started doing our research. Our research still happens in Finland, 2021. Everything that we release, everything that we launch goes through their standards and they keep evaluating us. I'm also one of the co-founders, as Vamika said, of Startup India Advisory. It's also known as the India Rath Incubator, and it is the largest borderless incubator in the world. We started this last year, my co-founders and I, because we realized that Indian startups were getting disconnected because of COVID. We realized that this cannot be something that separates the innovation or stops the innovation in startups in India. So I thought, how about we bring all the education of Silicon Valley and all the mentorship globally and take it to Indian startups, especially the people who have an idea, who've built something and want to grow to the next level. So then India Rath was born and we started it last year. And then later last year, actually I started 2 startups last year. So later last year, I launched something called the New Founder School. After being a founder for almost 15 years, I realized that a lot of other founders were reaching out to me. Hey, I have an idea, but I don't know if it is the right idea. I am really excited about entrepreneurship, but I don't know what my next step should be. Hey, how do you build a company? Should I look for funds? I am a full-time student. I have a full-time job. Can I be an entrepreneur? All these questions started coming up. So I created something called the New Founder School. So any question that you have around entrepreneurship, New Founder School is your Wikipedia, literally for your entrepreneurship questions. You can type any question and find any resource that'll be credible. You will be able to find any expert. And it has reached over 250 founders in about 40 different countries in the world so far. And it's just been 9 months. I also worked at Google for a while as part of their public speaking expert program, which was run by the Google Developer Studio. I traveled around the offices of Google in Nigeria, Cambridge, New York, San Francisco, everywhere. And I started training a lot of engineers in how to tell their story right, how to communicate about their big ideas and big visions. It was one of the very exciting projects that I did here, and it's still close to my heart. And then in 2015, I got this opportunity to give a TEDx talk, and that too in San Francisco. 2015 was literally 1 year after I moved to the US for the first time. I had never been to US. It was an unknown country. I moved in 2014. And this was a TEDx where I was almost about to walk away. I told my partner at that time, hey, I think I should just back out. I don't even have a story to tell. Elon Musk's wife, Justine Musk, she's a very well-reputed writer, author, and such a trailblazer, was a speaker at this event. And I told him, my partner, that, wait, what am I going to do? Look at all these accomplished people. They're from Harvard, they're from Stanford, they're from all these schools. What am I going to do? What have I done? You know, I don't have a technical background. I have not studied from Stanford, but he pushed me. And I am glad he did, because looking back, this was one of the most exciting milestones of my life. And at that time, I did not know that. But I talked about how innovation can be taken to anybody just because we have access to smart devices. And this is the power that each one of us, each one of you has, because you have access to a smart device. So there is no disconnect anymore. The world is an oyster now. And in 2019, I was on the billboard of Times Square in New York City of NASDAQ because I sit on their advisory board, and I was helping NASDAQ's Entrepreneurial Center to launch and scale businesses of many startups in Silicon Valley and all around the world. I wanted to share this because I told you about my beginning. I was born in Meerut. That's how I started. And 2 years ago, I was here. So I started maybe in a more nascent stage than each one of you. Each one of you has this opportunity to go to a prestigious institution and get that education. So there is no way in the world that you cannot be here. There is no way in the world you cannot be an entrepreneur, you cannot be an innovator. You can absolutely be anything you want. But let's talk about you now. Why should you care about my journey? Why should you care about, why I did? I'm not special, just another person. There's this quote that I read. If you don't have big dreams and goals, you'll end up working for someone that does. And that's not a bad thing. How many of us would love to work for Elon Musk? How many of us would love to work for Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook and everything? But how many of us would like to be Elon Musk? How many of us would like to be Mark Zuckerberg? How many of us would like to be Brittany Wolf of Bumble? So think about it. There is always a choice. But if you do want to become a founder, it's generally for one of these reasons. And I'm not sure which one you are picking, but for me, it was a collection of all these. First one, did somebody underestimate you? You cannot do it. You'd not be able to do this ever. Come on, are you going to try this? Why don't you just settle down? Why don't you become this nice kid who listens to the parents, who listens to the society and just does this? Or you're looking for freedom to live your life. I always wanted to live life on my own terms, and I knew I have to pay a very heavy price. I paid that heavy price. I worked so much and so hard when I didn't have to. I had my friends who had a secure job in an unknown country. They did not have to hustle or grind everything that I had to do. They did not have to pay off all their savings into a business that kept failing for 5 years. But today where I am, I have the freedom to live the life that I want. I'm not dependent on a paycheck. In fact, I know 10 years from now, the legacy and the impact that I would have created would be phenomenal. And the third one is, do you have a burning desire to solve a problem? There's something stuck in your head and you know how to solve it. For me, it was education. I was bored out of my education. It wasn't engaging. It wasn't inspiring. I don't even remember any teacher that inspired me, except probably my mom, and that's why I joined her in her business, because she was so good at giving education. She was brilliant the way she taught. And I wanted to learn that. And then I wanted to take it to scale and teach millions of people using that methodology. So I had this burning problem, and there is no lack of problems in the world right now. Climate needs help. People need help. Women need help. Minorities need help. Construction needs help. Like literally look around you and you'll find things that need help. So see, what are you most excited about? What have you noticed that nobody else has? And pick it up and do it. But I know there are things that will always be holding you back. There's always some restriction, some constraint in life. Everybody's life isn't perfect. Mine wasn't when I chose to become an entrepreneur. So the first reason, the first excuse that I hear from most people when they say I cannot be a founder, or I cannot be a builder, or I cannot innovate is I have no time because I have full-time school, or I have a full-time job, or I have too many ideas. Let me give you an example. Elon Musk is working on 4 companies together at the same time. He's the founder of 4 companies. So you cannot tell me you are busier than Elon Musk, right? I have 3 startups that I'm running and I teach at 2 business schools. So you cannot tell me that you do not have time. This is not a time matter. This is something else. So let's go ahead. What is it? I have limited monetary support. Okay, great. You don't have the money to invest in your startup. You just don't have the bandwidth. You have to pay your bills. You have to go ahead and look after everything. I had that too. I was an immigrant in US on a dependent visa. I had to have a job to be here. If I didn't have a job, I would be sent back. So if that is your constraint, pick up that job and pay your bills with that salary, but still create that company. That job is actually going to be your backup option, which is phenomenal, which is going to pay your bills and you can still innovate. Yes, you'll have to give up your weekends, your vacation, your holidays, maybe sometimes your friends. But if it is a problem worth solving, I'll promise you, this is a journey worth taking. This is one of my favorite quotes, again, that I wanted to share with you. So instead of freaking out about these constraints, embrace them. Let them guide you. Constraints drive innovation and force focus. Instead of trying to remove them, use them to your advantage. When I started New Founder School, my focus was first-time founders and immigrant founders because I was a first-time founder at 16 in India and I did not know anything. It came from my personal constraint. Where should I look for information? How should I find a co-founder? How should I actually build this technology? I'm a non-technical person. I need a software engineer. I need an AI expert. How do I do that? And that is literally what I did. My constraints make me unique. They make me see situations and opportunities like no one else has seen. No one. So yes, it's hard and it's going to be difficult. And yes, it is not the easiest thing ever. You'll be giving up on so many pleasures, but you'll build something that nobody thought of. The last thing a lot of us think about is, what if I fail? And I know this is hard. Like, what if I fail? When I was building Equally, we had to go through 7 pivots, which means the first 6 products that we created, put in our own savings. Nobody invested in us at that time. They failed terribly. But remember, people do not fail. My product failed. I did not fail. With every failure, I learned so much about what do parents need, what do kids need, how exactly learning happens, how exactly teachers are looking to implement solutions. I wouldn't have learned that in the first go. So I had to go through those failures. But remember, again, you do not fail. The idea fails. And you always can think of another idea. So the best way to actually figure this out, to actually solve for failure, is just go ahead and attach yourself to the mission that you're solving. My mission in life is to impact 1 billion people, either through entrepreneurship or education. I will teach in my lifetime 1 billion people either how to learn or how to create. That's what I'm attached to. I'm not attached to the idea that I will build. Every time there would be a new idea that takes me closer to my mission. My idea isn't special, my mission is. So it's okay to fail, but keep moving on. You have to believe it before you see it. And this is so, so important. As a founder, only you can see your vision. You know, you're talking to your friend and you're saying, it's 10 o'clock. Hey, what if I built this, which is going to revolutionize the way Indian farmers do farming? Let's think about that. And your friend's going to say, wait, how is that even possible? Because they do not see that vision that you see. Hey, what if I built this carbon sucking machine that's going to reduce carbon emissions in the most populated cities in the country? They wouldn't know that. Only you would, because you noticed it. So let's go ahead and talk about the 5 steps you can take to actually start thinking like an entrepreneur, like a founder, like an innovator. Step number 1, what are you passionate about? Like, truly, what do you care about? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be the most radical AI platform. It could be the simplest of the things. So ask yourself, what are you passionate about? Is it education? Do you want to teach? Do you want to teach 1,000 kids? Or do you want to create the next e-commerce or the shopping experience? Do you want to create the next social network? You don't always have to solve a problem, but you do have to be passionate about what you're building. So truly take some time today and think about it. Take a journal, write down. Get honest with yourself. What do you care about? Do you care about money? Do you care about family? Do you care about having better roads? Do you care about an electric car that does XYZ? Do you care about going to Mars? What do you care about? Get honest with yourself. Step number 2, find 25 entrepreneurs online and don't just follow them. Please don't be their followers only. Interact with them. Vamika and I connected on Instagram. That's how I know her. That's simple. Like, that's literally our relationship. So go ahead, find people and talk to them. Social media is now a platform where you can actually have a chat with the people you are inspired by. Reach out to them. Ask them about their journey. Keep commenting on their post. Let them notice you. And the moment they do, be ready to share about your passion, about what you care, because that will be your moment. Do not, please do not be a silent spectator. And I know talking is hard to an unknown person. What if they don't respond? What if they don't even talk to you? Well, they are not going to talk to you already. The answer is no already, right? So reach out to people. When I was building my user pipeline at Equally, I started reaching out to people, teachers, parents, schools, everywhere. In person, I would go to schools. Online, I would reach to parents and teachers. And I sent a message to almost 10,000 people. Out of 10,000, 1,000 people reached out and responded back. Out of those 1,000, 100 people used our product and became our paid customer. I'm telling this from experience. And those 100 people have talked about our product, have shared it with so many people. And that is literally how you start. So surround yourself by the type of life you want to live. And you can only do that by surrounding yourself with the type of people who are living that life. So go and reach out now. There is no restriction. Talk about what you're passionate about and share it. People are ready and craving to listen to new ideas. People are ready and craving to listen to new insights, new perspectives. And you are the next generation of innovators. So don't hold back. Go do it. The next one is learn the difference. And I know we all think innovators and entrepreneurs might be saying kind of same, what's the difference? What does it really mean? An innovator thinks about an idea. An innovator thinks about a product. And what happens is ideas and products fail. But an entrepreneur thinks of a business. She or he will only create things that create revenue so that they know they're not wasting their time on anything else. An entrepreneur will always negotiate well. This doesn't mean haggling. I'm not saying go ask for discount. No. This means when you're raising money, when you're fundraising, you are saving your equity of your company. You're not just saying, oh, just give me money and I'll give you everything in my company. No, you're going to negotiate well. You know the value of your company. Raising money is not everything. I've done it. I've raised money. I've done it through crowdfunding. I've done it through Accelerator, through VC, through Angels in New York, in Silicon Valley, in Finland, everywhere. The only yardstick of success for an entrepreneur is, did they create something that got them revenue or change? Change is still difficult to measure in small term. So people start measuring it by the success, by the revenue. But the long term, now I can say that, hey, I've taught 20,000 people. But when I started, I couldn't have said that because I hadn't reached 20,000 people. And the last one is delegates their vision. An innovator wants to build everything on their own. They want to protect their idea. They want to build everything on their own. And I know that that is something a lot of early stage founders think. Let me just do it myself. But that is not how you go ahead and build a team. An entrepreneur has a phenomenal team of people working on that, a vision that, this founder is passionate about. So think, what are you good at and what are you not good at? Whatever you're not good at, think like an entrepreneur, find the best person to do that. You need to create a great team. Step 4, what is your superpower? There are 4 types of people, according to me. This is not cited from any book or anything. I've read a lot of books. I read 1 book a week. So my knowledge literally is distributed. It comes from different areas. So over a period of time, I've actually realized that there are these 4 types of people. There are connectors. These connectors are people who actually find the best people in the best industry. They're not networkers, they are connectors. The next one is learner. They can learn anything. They can hack, they can grow, they can learn anything. Even if they don't know how to code, they'll learn that in 6 months and create that best thing. If they don't know how to do sales, they'll go ahead and they'll do that sale. If they don't know how to pitch, they'll learn that and they'll do that. The next is builder. Builders are people who are generally great at building products. For example, engineers. They can build the most innovative technologies. They can build the best algorithms. They can define the world, the internet, everything. And the last is storyteller. They're great at sales. They can talk about anything in such a passionate way that anybody would be convinced by whatever they say. If you can choose to be one person out of these four, please be a learner. Because a learner can become a connector, a builder, and a storyteller according to the situation. So don't ever think you are done with education. My education is still going on. I did my undergrad in physical therapy in India. I did a diploma in theater, Shakespeare, and improv from London. And I did my master's in social entrepreneurship. None of these are related or make any sense. But because I have been through range of industries, I have learned range of skills. So if you can do one thing, if you can be one thing, if you can have one superpower, be a learner. Don't stop this. This process cannot stop, ever. And the last one is, what is your headline? I want you to think about it. I'm going to give all of you about 30 seconds before I go ahead. I want you all to close your eyes and think about that magazine, that billboard, where your face is there. It's the headline. Or that newspaper. Your face is there on the front page, on the cover. What does that cover say about you? What does that magazine say about you? What have you done? What is that exciting thing? Take 30 seconds and visualize it. I want you all to open your eyes and remember this vision of yours. This is where you want to reach. This is who you truly think you are. And you really are. So I want you, anytime you're doubting yourself, I cannot be an entrepreneur, I have this issue, this problem, this. Go back to this headline. Go back to this cover. This is who you aspire to be. And someone who has to reach there cannot be thinking about these constraints right now. They have to keep moving ahead. No matter who you are, you might be the only that gender in that room. You might be the only that race in that room. You might be the only that type of person in that room. Use that to your advantage. That is what makes you unique. Yes, it makes you different. And yes, it is the hardest thing to do. When you don't sound like people, when you don't look like people, when they don't talk to you, it is the hardest. It's a lonely journey. But it also means you have the best or the unique perspective that they will have a blind spot on. How did I get here? And I'm going to share this very honestly and very candidly. You can go onto my profiles and I talk about this very openly as well. Being an entrepreneur is a hard thing. It's a hard thing because there's no defined milestone, right? That there's no way that defines success. Even if I reach 1 billion people, I can keep reaching more. So there is no framework that says, oh, now the job is done. As an entrepreneur, the job is never done. Jeff Bezos just left Amazon and wants to start creating a newer company. So the job clearly isn't done. He doesn't need to start a new company, but he is. So it's a tough journey. How I got here, I'm no one special. I don't have a tech degree, not an engineer. When I moved to the US, I did not have a green card. My green card came last year when I got selected as the alien of extraordinary ability in the US because of my startup work. I did not have a financial security. The day when my face was there on the NASDAQ's billboard, my bank balance was negative $200. My company was funded, but as a founder, you don't take that high of a salary. You are paid the least. I did not know how I'm going to buy my groceries. I did not know how I'm going to pay my rent. I did not have any network. When I moved here, I knew nobody except my husband, my partner. That's it. He had a full-time job. So I had to build from the scratch. So I was a founder, a successful founder in India who moved to the US and had to start from the scratch. And my first job in the US was a data analyst intern, data input intern. From a CEO in India, I moved here and I started as an intern who would just do data entry. That was my first job. I was making just minimum wage. And no entrepreneurship education. Before I moved to the US, I had no entrepreneurship education. It's not that I did any master's or I did any PhD or anything. I did my master's in social entrepreneurship in the US. Before that, there was nothing. But there are a few things that I've done that I want to share with you that you can do now if you feel you are in a similar restrictive situation. The first one is scavenging, and I'm very proud of this. When I knew that my passion was education and entrepreneurship, if I read anything about education and entrepreneurship, I heard anything about education and entrepreneurship, I read it, I understood it, I assimilated it, I got to know about it. Any person that I thought would be a great mentor and an expert in my field, I reached out to them. I became a scavenger. Give me more, give me every information. Even if today you would ask me what's happening in entrepreneurship globally or education globally, I know those trends because this is my industry. I knew that I'm not somebody who can build my product, but I can find the right people to build it. I can find the right resources. And for that, all of you need to be scavengers. And that is true education. Become the expert in the industry that you are most passionate about. Become that expert in the field that you truly care about. Learn everything online, offline, every person in that industry, reach out to them, grab a 20-minute Zoom chat with them, scavenge the world and learn about it. And that's what I did. The next one is tolerance for ambiguity. My dad was in the Indian Army, and he would always tell me when I was growing up, you should build a tolerance for ambiguity. And I would be like, wait, what does that even mean? And as I've grown into a founder's life and run multiple startups and been through so many different phases of life, I've realized this was the best advice that he gave me. What it says is life is always going to be ambiguous. You don't know what's going to happen as an entrepreneur. You don't know if tomorrow your co-founder is going to leave you. You don't know if you're going to be funded in 3 months. You don't know if your product's going to launch on time or no. You don't know if customers will keep coming to you quarter after quarter. There are so many what ifs. There is so much of ambiguity. But you as a founder need to tell yourself, I know things are going to be crazy. I know I'll not know what is going to happen, but I'll figure it out. Have that trust and have that tolerance and have that resilience in the fact that no matter what is going to happen, I will figure it out. And tell yourself, mentally prepare yourself. It's not going to be easy. The faster you tell yourself that, the sooner you tell yourself that, the easier this road is going to get. It is not pie in the sky. It is not eating pancakes every day. But the moment you tell yourself that, your body automatically, mentally, physically, and emotionally prepares for that. So build that tolerance. Even now, my startups are doing well, they are well settled. No 2 days as an entrepreneur look the same. So most of the times I'm breathing in and letting my breath out and saying, tolerance for ambiguity, Arjita. You have figured out everything that was thrown at you in life, and you'll be able to figure this out. Have tolerance, have resilience. The last one is creating a network of mentors. There is nothing called self-made person in the world. Nothing. It is impossible to be self-made. Because if in your idea, even if a contractor has helped you, they have helped you. If somebody's put money in your idea, they have helped you. If somebody sat with you and gave you advice, they have helped you. So let's first get out of that situation that I have to be self-made man, woman, person. No. I want to grow with the right set of people by my side. Let's become more collaborative. People who have done something in their life and have become experts, they would love to mentor you. They would love to support you. So create that network, because this is the network that is going to take you to the next level. As an entrepreneur, life, again, iterating it as I've done today, probably 15 times, is lonely. It is hard. It is exciting and adventurous and beautiful, but it is hard and lonely. So you need these champions supporting you and pushing you to achieve your best and trusting you even in those days when you do not trust yourself. Last year when COVID hit, we thought our company is not going to do well. Schools aren't open and parents are not going to be buying. They'll be trying to save money. And we launched another product and it did really well. We launched a homeschooling product as part of our ed tech company. And we were speaking to our investors, our VCs, part of our check-ins, regular check-ins. So we told them that it has been a hard year, but this is how we figured it out. And we've actually doubled our revenue and it's doing so well. And we have the next thing coming up and, our growth is on track. After the chat, they sent us an email. They said, we did not invest in your idea. We invested in you because we knew no matter what gets thrown at you, you'll figure it out. It was one of the most special moments for an investor to say this. And I'm so glad we have those people by our side who are going to help us and support us and believe in us, even when we thought we were not good enough. As an entrepreneur, you need those people. So before I end today's session, I know we have about 8 minutes left. I just have one question. Are you going to sit on everything that we talked about today? Or are you going to use that courage that you've collected today, that fire that you've collected today, and do something about it? Go reach out to those 25 entrepreneurs. Go connect with people. Go start thinking about building your idea. Find someone who can help you build or create something, and let's create it. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open up for any questions that anyone has.
Yeah, thank you, Arjita ma'am, for an inspiring lecture today. So, yeah, I have taken some questions from the chat. Yeah, the first one is we are talking about networking. So, how do we actually start networking, that seed contact? It's only like after knowing a bunch of, say, 5 or 6 people, our network actually builds. So, how to make that first step?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So in my story, when I was sharing about Equally, if you remember, I said I do not know anyone here. So I went ahead, when I started thinking about education, I messaged about 10,000 people. And I just told them, hey, I'm a student. I'm looking to build a tech startup that can change the way education is given right now. Would you be able to talk to me? Out of 10,000, only 1,000 people responded back to me. So it is not the fact that you need to have people within your network. No. I started from negative network. I knew nobody, and I did not even have a LinkedIn profile when I moved to Silicon Valley. I did not even know that I needed to have a LinkedIn profile. I was doing fine in India. I was okay. When I moved here, I realized, wait, you need to have a LinkedIn profile? I started going out and randomly asking people, hey, you sound interesting. Can I add you on my LinkedIn? And a lot of people said yes, but when I would send them a request, they wouldn't accept it. But eventually, people started accepting. So you have to start from zero. There is no way you can start from 5. And remember, don't take it personally. People are busy. If somebody is not responding back to me, it is not that they don't like me. There is no reason. They are bogged down by work. It's crazy. It's really tiring. So probably your message got slipped, and it's okay. Send them another message. If they don't respond, move on. There are billions of people in the world. If one person doesn't respond to you, it's not the end of the world. Move on to the next person and find them. I hope that
Okay.
answers the question, Vamika.
Yeah. The next question is like a favorite question. Like, I have a great idea, but how do I ensure that nobody copies it or steals it?
If you
I
have a great idea, it's already copied. There is no way it is not copied. There are no new ideas in the world. The only great thing about an entrepreneur is their execution, is their strategy. Clubhouse was launched just last year. Twitter Spaces got launched this year. Discord is launching their audio platform now. There are multiple companies that are thinking of doing it. When the year Instagram launched, about 2,000 other social networks launched around the world. Why all of them are not successful? All of them had the same idea. They probably heard of each other's idea and thought we could build it. It is that execution and that vision and that persistence that is successful. Tesla has been bankrupt almost 4, 5 times. They were about to sell their company. Elon Musk was about to sell Tesla to Apple because he couldn't sustain it. There are no unique ideas. There are only unique executions and strategies. So forget about the fact that people might steal my idea. Are you not passionate enough about this idea? Do you not already have a vision of this idea? He or she might steal that idea. They cannot steal everything that's in your mind already. So be that scavenger, become that expert. Investors want to put in money in experts, not just anyone who has a great idea. Ideas don't get funded.
Yeah, cool. My next question is related to this one. Like you mentioned that the persona or the person is responsible for carrying forward the idea. So what do you think are the strengths of a non-technical co-founder?
Yeah, so the non-technical co-founder, which is me, the biggest strength is finding and talking to the right people again. So my co-founder, he's a technical person and he would go ahead and build, and we had a team that was building the product. I knew that I have known about education. I have learned about education. So the teachers and the parents would be more comfortable talking to me. When a child is using our platform, I would be the one who will be able to understand how they use it. As a non-technical founder, you are the person who can be the face of the company. You are going to be the person who's going to talk to the user and constantly ask them what's working, what's not working, why do you not like it, how much are you going to pay for it, will you use it again, can you tell a friend to use it. All this, the growth of that company is the non-technical founder's job.
Cool. There is one last question. What is the book which inspired you the most in entrepreneurship?
Oh my God, there are 1 million books. I read like a crazy person. I read one book a week. But my recent book on entrepreneurship around fundraising would be Get Backed. That is something that we are doing in New Founder School this quarter. We are reading that book and discussing that book. So Get Backed is a great book on fundraising. I would say, what else? Hard Things About Hard Things. That is a great book on entrepreneurship again. 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Really great book again. More than books, I think there are podcasts that I really love, like Masters of Scale by Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn. That is my go-to resource. So if you can go ahead and listen to that podcast, brilliant. Masters of Scale, it's one of the best ones out there that I love. A16Z, that is the Andreessen Horowitz, one of the best investors and the most successful investors in Silicon Valley. They have their own podcast. Listen to that. That is brilliant. In terms of books, again, there are multiple books. So follow me on Goodreads, which is a platform where I put all the books that I read. It's again a free platform for anybody who's interested. And you can go ahead and see all the books that I have. There's another one called Range by David Epstein. It talks about how being a generalist actually helps you. So instead of going deeper into one thing, I have a breadth of knowledge, and that is going to help you become a great entrepreneur and innovator. So that is another book. Oh my God, I can keep going on, Bhamika. If you wouldn't stop me, books, I'll keep going on, and reading and listening, I'll keep going on. So I'm going to pause there for a second. If you need more, I am happy to share my Goodreads.
Cool. Yeah. I think you should follow her on Instagram. Like she keeps posting reels on like infinite number of tips, which will keep you engaged throughout your journey of entrepreneurship. Any doubt you have, I think you should just check on her profile, and she's very active. So I would like to take this moment to thank you very much for joining us today, and also on the behalf of management of RSD organizing team to give this exemplary lecture and give a great start to RSD Day 2. Thank you again, Arjita. And if someone wants to join your founder school, please let them know how to join so that, yeah.
Absolutely. If you want to join New Founder School, just go on to newfounderschool.com and you'll get all the information, or just reach out to me on any social network. I'm there. I'll help you out. And thank you, Bhamika, and thank you everyone who invited me today. This was a very, very special experience. I mean, it's one of the most prestigious organizations and institutions. So I am really full of gratitude that I got to spend some time with all of you, enlightened and intelligent people. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Arjita. That is so sweet of you. So we hope to keep in touch with you for any other possible collaboration as well. See you soon again in IIT Madras campus for another event. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.